Hello, everyone. This is your video study guide for your annotations for the close read assignment for the reading Amigo Brothers. On the left hand side, tab 1 is where you find your reading and your focus questions. This is what you annotate to. Then on tab 2 is where you find the writing prompt, the rubric, which is your test. So, with that, guys, what you're going to want to do on your end is click split screen mode. That way, you see your questions on the left hand side, and then you see your reading, which you'll be annotating on the right hand side. The last thing you're going to want to do is have the annotation button open. You know it's open if it's in orange, and then throw on the numbers too. Numbers become super important because each question is going to refer to a specific paragraph for you to annotate. I'm going to turn off split screen mode on my end. That way, my text just shows up bigger for you in the video and it's easier to see. And then I'll just scroll back and forth between the questions and the text. So, question 1: as you reread Amigo Brothers, keep in mind that the story is told from the third person point of view. Although readers can infer much about the boys' character traits and point of view from their dialogue, the narrator also provides important information about the boys. Highlight evidence in paragraph 4 that reveals how the narrator feels about Antonio and Felix. How does this information help you determine the theme? Use the annotation tool to explain your ideas. So, a couple key things here. I want to start off by saying it says right here reread, which means you've already read it once. So, if you have not read the story, you might be a little lost. You need to really focus in first and foremost on paragraphs 1 through 5 because that's where you learn about these boys. They are so together in friendship that they see each other more than being friends, they see each other as being brothers. They both have the same dream of becoming championship boxers one day, and you find out they train and support each other with this. So, again, this should not be the first time you're reading this story. If it is, you're going to be a little lost. For us, we're going right to paragraph 4 and thinking about what do we learn about these boys. I need to re-put back on numbers. What you're going to see too is I've already annotated and I'm just going to read the paragraph and then reread over what I see. So in 4, while some youngsters were into street negatives, Antonio and Felix slept, ate, rapped, and dreamt positive. Between them, they had a collection of fight magazines, second to none, plus a scrapbook filled with torn tickets to every boxing match they had ever attended, and some clippings of their own. If asked a question about any given fighter, they would immediately zip out from their memory banks divisions, weights, records of fights, knockouts, technical knockouts, and draws or losses. I annotated the first sentence completely from beginning to end, what I saw here. The narrator reveals that Antonio and Felix were involved in positive activities, while other kids their age were wrapped up in negative activities. Now, why is this important to understanding the boys? This shows the narrator holds a positive view about the boys. These are not bad kids, these are good kids, and all they are involved in good activities. Really evident by that part where you hear they slept, ate, rapped, dreamt positivity. So everything these boys are consumed with is positive. Now, what is that thing they're consumed with, takes up all their time? Is boxing. Boxing being this positive outlet for these boys. With that, let me click on my second one. So really, I just didn't highlight the between them part because you wouldn't be able to tell like where one idea ends and the other begins. But so you know, this collection of boxing memorabilia is shared between Tony and Felix. One doesn't own more than the other, they share it. It's a collection. What this shows me is they share the different pieces of boxing memorabilia. These details reveal how devoted these two close friends were to boxing, hinting at the idea that friendship and boxing are clues to the theme. So, subject matter, this story, subject topically, it is about friendship. We're looking at these two boys. And then number two, it's about boxing, this sport, which they are both involved in. Closing that down, now let's go check out question number two. Dialogue can also reveal character traits and point of view, thereby helping to uncover the theme or underlying message of a text. What point of view do Antonio and Felix share in paragraphs 23 through 27? How does their shared point of view help you discover the theme? Highlight textual evidence and use the annotation tool to explain your thinking. So 27 to 23 is where we are picking up. What you find out in between here is that the boys, they entered a tournament. They are both going to have to fight each other, or of course, both, right? They're going to have to fight each other in that championship bout. You wonder, what does fighting your friend do to your friendship? Does it have a negative effect or a positive effect? We would be led to think it's negative, right? You wouldn't think fighting your best friend would help your friendship. So we're going to read 23 to 27. We are picking up mid conversation. Boys are running early in the morning, training for the bout, and look at what they decide to do. It's fair, Tony. When we get into the ring, it's got to be like we never met. We got to be like two heavy strangers that want the same thing, and only one can have it. You understand, don't you? See, I know. Tony smiled. No pulling punches. We go all the way. Yeah, that's right. Listen, Tony. Don't you think it's a good idea if we don't see each other until the day of the fight? I'm going to stay with my Aunt Lucy in the Bronx. I can use Gleason's gym for working out. My manager says he's got some sparring partners with more or less your style. Tony scratched his nose pensively. Yeah, it would be better for our heads. He held out his hand, palm upward. Deal? Deal. Felix lightly slapped open skin. So at the end, and this is where we pause just because that's where the focus question told us to read to, the boys agree, right? They high five, they go their separate ways. Now they've agreed to put their friendship aside, right? We got to meet like we're two strangers. We're not two friends. We've got to give it our all. No pulling punches, really. Be my competition. 23 and 24, they're going to jump after I X off of them. So give me a second after 23 to make my way back to 24. So this part, or no, I'm sorry, they're not going to jump. I highlighted everything together. So looking at this part of the conversation, what Tony says, and I'm sorry, what Felix says first, and what Tony agrees with second. In paragraphs 23 to 27, and again, I'm really focused on 23 and 24, Felix suggests that when they fight against each other, that they have to put their friendship aside. Antonio agrees. This shared point of view indicates both boys are committed to competing honestly in the division fight and leaving their friendship out of it. So, again, in this case, putting friendship to the side and instead focusing on competing honestly. No pulling punches, act like we're strangers, give it your all. This idea that the boys could set aside their friendship in order to compete is important to understanding the theme. So, in this instance, I see competition over friendship. Or is it really? Consider if you've played any sport, consider it if you've played any video game with your friend. Obviously, you want to be the best, but on the flip side, too, you want to be the best competitor. Now, if this is your best friend, the best thing you could do to, you could say, quote unquote, honor them or to help them is to be the best version of yourself, right? Don't take any step backs. With that, let me close this down. Let's go check out question number 3. What evidence is there in paragraphs 37 through 38 and 47 that Antonio and Felix are conflicted about the fight? How does this conflict relate to the theme? Highlight text evidence and use the annotation tool to explain your response. Okay, so we've heard this agreement. We're going to be strangers. We're going to fight each other, give it our all, no pulling punches. However, in their own heads, what are their issues that they're fighting over? A lot easier said than done. Forgetting that you're friends. So 37 through 38, and then I think we're checking out 47 as well. Yes. The evening before the big fight, Tony made his way to the roof of his tenement. In the quiet early dark, he peered over the ledge. 6 stories below, the lights of the city blinked, and the sounds of cars mingled with the curses and the laughter of children in the street. He tried not to think of Felix, feeling he had succeeded in psyching his mind. But only in the ring would he really know. To spare Felix hurt, he would have to knock him out early and quick. So, in this moment, and I think this note is going to be one that jumps, what is Antonio thinking? Tony is finding it hard not to think about his friend. In the end, he decides the best way to achieve his dream of becoming champion and preserving his friendship is to knock out Felix early. This is interesting because normally you would not think knocking out your best friend would save your friendship. It's almost an ironic statement, right? I have to fight my friend to preserve my friendship, right? Irony. Doing something without the intended reaction. I'm going to start reading 38 just to see. No, if I X off, it's going to jump. No, it didn't jump. Oh, there you go. Delay. It did jump. Let me get back to 38. How does Felix respond? Again, boys are not together at all. Up in the South Bronx, Felix decided to take in a movie in an effort to keep Antonio's face away from his fists. The flick was The Champion with Kirk Douglas, the third time Felix was seeing it. If you read the rest of this, you're going to find out Felix does not get the result he wanted. So, again, Felix decides to take in a movie. Why? I need to watch something I need to get my mind off of punching Tony in the face. In a humorous note, Felix is having the same conflict as Tony. He begins to watch a movie so he can stop envisioning himself punching Tony in the face. However, and if you read the rest of the paragraphs, the movie only makes him think of it more. Felix sees himself as being the champion, sees the opponent to the champion, the opponent to Kirk Douglas, as being Tony. So let me watch a movie, stop thinking about punching my friend in the face. I put on the movie, I think about punching him in the face more. So Felix having the same issues as Tony, right? I don't want to think about my best friend. I don't want to think about hurting him, but all we can do is think about winning that fight. Let me X this off. I'm sure it's going to jump. This time we get lucky. It does not jump. All right, so let's make it to 47. Antonio was passing some heavy time on his rooftop. How would the fight tomorrow affect his relationship with Felix? After all, fighting was like any other profession. Friendship has nothing to do with it. A gnawing doubt crept in. He cut negative thinking real quick by doing some speedy, fancy dance steps, bobbing and weaving like Mercury. The night air was blurred with perpetual motions of left hooks and right crosses. Felix, his amigo brother, was not going to be Felix at all in the ring, just an opponent with another face. Antonio went to sleep, hearing the opening bell for the first round. Like his friend in the South Bronx, he prayed for victory via a quick, clean knockout in the first round. So Antonio and Felix both pray for that same thing, right? If I get that quick, clean knockout KO in the first round, I did the least amount of damage to my friend, and I also become the champ. But I'm more focused in these first 3 or 4 lines. How would the fight tomorrow affect his relationship with Felix? This is the question in Tony's head. What is the fight going to do to us? After all, fighting was like any other profession. We're not fighting because we're angry. We're really boxing out of the competition of sport. So, this is a job we both want to get one day. Friendship has nothing to do with it. Friendship has nothing to do with this job, with this sport. However, a gnawing doubt crept in. So I'm trying to psych myself up. This is just any other job, friend or no friend, you got to do the job. However, this might not be the case. What is so worrisome? Tony feels a nagging sense of doubt. These details indicate that the boys want to believe that their friendship won't affect the fight, but deep down, they know that it will. At this moment, the boys only think something negative can come of this fight. Both are very apprehensive, right? So while they said earlier, hey, put sport over friendship, now on their own, separate, independent of each other, they're finding it hard to separate this idea from friendship and competition. Both, more than anything, they want to win, but they also want to preserve their friendship. And with that, let's move on to the last question. And I'll tell you to hint, hint, hint. If you stick around for after 54, I'm going to do a little extra. So, which lines from paragraph 54 provide strong evidence of the theme, the lesson of the story? Highlight the 2 most important sentences and annotate how they express the theme. Ooh, I hope I did this right. So, paragraph 54 for sure, but they're telling us specifically only 2 sentences. And I like to talk and write, so I might have done a little more. Let's check out 54. Can I follow rules? Let's see. 1, 2. Nope, I did follow rules. All right. The local junior high school across from Tompkins Square Park served as the dressing room for all the fighters. Each was given a separate classroom with desktops covered with mats serving as resting tables. Antonio thought he caught a glimpse of Felix waving to him from a room at the end of the corridor. He waved back just in case it had been him. So interesting. Day of the fight, we are in our own dressing rooms, changing rooms, preparing. Tony thinks he saw Felix waving at him. Tony waves back just in case it was Felix. I like to believe it was Felix. 2 friends, before fighting one another for the championship bout, they friendly wave. They have a friendly wave. There we go. A friendly wave to one another. Usually, if you watch boxing, if you watch MMA, you know 2 fighters, they are not waving and smiling at one another before a fight. So, the note here, these sentences are important to determining the theme because they show that even when Antonio is psyched about the fight, he stops to think about his friend. Waving back is evidence that his friendship with Felix has just been put aside for the fight, not forgotten. So, again, I'm not staring, giving a nasty look to my opponent. I'm waving at him, saying, hey. Now, like I said, I wanted to do a little bit more. So after 54 and for the rest, that is where you see the whole fight. They go at it for 3 rounds. When it's over, notice, let me pick up at paragraph 97. Fight has just ended, the final bell. Bong, bong, bong. The bell sounded over and over again. Felix and Antonio were past hearing. Their blows continued to pound on each other like hailstones. Fight's over. They're still fighting. At this moment, we think they've lost their friendship. Finally, the referee and the two trainers pried Felix and Antonio apart. Cold water was poured over them to bring them back to their senses. So we pull them apart, sit them down, cool them off with water. What happens? They look around and then rush towards each other. A cry of alarm surged through Tompkins Square Park. Was this a fight to the death instead of a boxing match? The two boys get up, rush each other. The fear soon gave way to wave upon wave of cheering as the two amigos embrace. So we thought they were going to rush at each other and keep fighting, but instead they rush to hug each other. Them hugging shows they are still friends. No matter what the decision, they knew they would always be champions to one another. So it doesn't matter the outcome. In both boys' eyes, they are both winners. Bong, bong, bong. Ladies and gentlemen, senores and senoras, the winner and representative to the Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions is dun dun dun. The announcer turned to point to the winner and found himself alone. Arm in arm, the champions had already left the ring. Before hearing who won, the boys walk out and notice specifically the word choice arm in arm, they're together, the champions, plural, right? Both boys in each other's mind, they're winners. The decision doesn't matter. What does that tell you? What was more important, the friendship or the competition? I have two notes, so on 101 and 103. Let me click on 101. What did I put here? Both boys kept their promise to not pull punches. Yeah, you've really got to see the full fight to hear what happened and fight fair and square. Because they kept their promises to one another, this strengthened their friendship. And what did I put for 103? Fingers crossed this doesn't jump. Got lucky. The boys leaving together before hearing the results of the fight helped develop the theme of the story. Again, what were our two topics, our subject matters, friends, and boxing, right? If you want to switch out boxing for fight, for competition, by all means. One possible theme could be don't let a fight ruin a friendship. Is this the only theme? No. Of course, there could be more. It's all about how you interpret the subject matters working together. With that, guys, that's the little extra credit. I'm going to close that down. Let's make our way back to the top and let's check out our writing prompt. What is your test? What is the theme of the story? What's the lesson? Write a response in which you identify the theme. So it should start off the theme of the story is bump, bump, bump. Include details, text evidence from the story that help to establish the theme. When you're here, what you're going to want to do is hit split screen. That way, your annotations show up on the left hand side. Remember, you must cite where is my text evidence coming from? Where are my ideas? So go back to what you annotated. Compile your thoughts, compile your annotations into one nice, neat paragraph. And if I can scroll to the bottom, explain to me again, what is the lesson of the story and how do you know it? Based on what text evidence? If you're wondering how I'm going to score you, what am I looking for? Click where it says View Rubric. You get a total max of 4 points for identifying the theme correctly and supporting it. And another total 4 points are story elements. What leads you to understanding the theme? And lastly, language and conventions. Another total 4 points. Can you spell correctly? Can you punctuate correctly? Really, can you use the erase format correctly? So 4 times 3 categories gives you a total of 12 points. With that, guys, good luck. If there's any questions, make sure you ask me before the test, either when we meet in person or send me an email.